things have slowed down a little bit here on the farm, and I'm glad for it. We spent the last 2 weeks finishing up, finally, a project that we started last year. And I'm here to encourage you. If you're just getting started on the homestead or you're just getting started in the garden this year, these things take time. You'll see our greenhouse arrived in about 20,000 pieces. And even though we began it in great faith that we would finish it last year, it wasn't until this last week that we finally got it all sealed up and all ready to use by our garden. Now, if you remember, we had a greenhouse on the opposite side of the property. But when you're growing a homestead, how you use the land changes, and your requirements for what you need sort of change. And that's how it was with the greenhouse, which is actually more of a cold frame. We weren't able to control the temperature in this, so we were really only able to use it for a short amount every year. We couldn't vent it or fan it or heat it because it wasn't sealed properly. So instead, this has now become storage for gardening tools and for our firewood, which is really important. But because it's on the opposite side of the property from where our market garden is now, that means we were having to constantly haul tools and seedlings and soil and plants up to the top of the property where the market garden now lives. Starting a homestead can be tricky because it does take so much time and effort, and things change. Projects take a lot of time. Learning new skills takes a lot of time. When we moved to this property on just 2.5 acres 7 years ago, I was not the gardener that I am now, and I didn't grow vegetables to the same capacity that I grow them now. I also wasn't really interested yet in overwintering things like citrus trees or certain flowers, and now that's become a main goal of mine and something that really interests me. Because of this, a really tight sealed greenhouse became really important, which is why we finally decided to invest in it. It took a lot of time, but these things take time. I hope that's encouraging to you. I would like to thank All About the Garden for sponsoring today's garden-inspired video. I discovered All About the Garden last year when I was desperately looking for seed trays that were actually built to last. I was tired of throwing expensive plastic trays away or using a ton of plastic cups in the process of growing my seedlings. So I got connected with them, and I'm so glad I did because they import Charles Dowding trays here in the US. I am in love with these module trays. They're really strong and they come with a variety of cell sizes available. They're also large enough for you to get your finger in to pop the seedlings out, which is not a small thing when you're a gardener. This is a tray that's 100% recyclable material, BPA-free, and is designed to reuse for over 15 years in your own garden. So I have a link below to shop All About the Garden. They have a wonderful supply of module trays and coordinating bottom water trays as well. I've got a special link for you. Make sure to shop the link below the video to learn more. We can get so caught up in the current of wanting things to be instant. And homesteaders are not immune to this. It can be really tempting to try to build something overnight. And what we have found in our over a decade of doing this is that when we rush into things, when we try to move too quickly, we get too tied up in the results and not focused enough on the process. To me, homesteading and bread baking are really similar because you need to be lifelong students of both. The same goes for being a gardener. There's never a year where you have it all figured out or where you do it all perfectly. There's never a point when you arrive when you can't learn something more. So part of it, the biggest part of it, is the process and how it changes you and how it changes your family and how it does change the result in the end. Properly growing in a greenhouse is something that's new to me. We have really cold winters and really hot summers. I'm not sure yet how the greenhouse will fare, how much energy it will take for us to keep it warm during the winter, how cold it will get. That's all yet to be seen. So I am a student of my greenhouse this year. It's still fairly cold here during the days, so right now we're using the greenhouse as a bit of a potting shed. We'll be starting seeds soon in our cell trays, as soon as next week. But for now, I'm having a lot of fun taking out houseplants and getting a few things going for the year. I can't think of something more symbolic than a tree. You plant it in the hopes that one day it will produce fruit for you. But the process is really long, and you need to be long-suffering alongside it. You need to be there every week, consistently caring for it, consistently watering it, consistently tending to its needs before it will bear that fruit for you. And you might not see that fruit for years and years and years. But you don't go through that time unchanged. You come out having learned something. You come out a bit of a different person. The results and the fruits of our labor on the homestead are sweet, whether it's meat or milk or eggs or fruit. But the process is such a big part of it. So if you're just getting started, don't be discouraged. Know that all of us, even those of us with quite a bit of experience, we still flub and we still mess up and we still don't have it figured out, and we're still learning all kinds of things. The difference for me now, as opposed to me 10 years ago, is that I'm much more patient. I can take a step back and know that things take time to grow.